Hey, welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps, where we give you information that you need to make informed decisions. So, welcome to the show, everybody. We got a great show today. We're going to be covering a lot of really good topics, or at least a couple. So, sit back, enjoy, and let's learn something today. Alrighty. So let's welcome all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma. It's the dulcet tones of Lloyd Mendenhall. Welcome, welcome.
Hey Art, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing a lot better.
Yep. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how's the weather there? Has it cooled off yet?
No, it's been we had cool the first part of the week, and then the last 3-4 days now, it has been hot. It's been up in the upper 90s, and we've been running at about 60% humidity. I mean, it was so hot. I stepped outside yesterday. It was just like stepping in the front of a blast furnace. It was just so hot. It literally took my breath away. I mean, it's been hard. The air's so thick and warm. You know, it's hard to breathe. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's welcome all the way from the blue state of New York. He's always in charge. It's Charles.
Hey,
the ever talkative Charles.
Hey, Charles.
How's it going, Charles? How's the weather in your neck of the woods?
Well, it's pretty nice. Kind of warm, but, beautiful blue skies, a few clouds, sunny.
Well, here it's cloudy. It was partly cloudy, mostly sunny this morning. A little cooler. We're in the upper 70s, low 80s today. Probably colder than that now. I think they're expecting some rain this afternoon. So we got a good crowd. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. We have Droning with Jamie. Hey, Jamie. And we got Steve Knowles. Welcome. Good to see you. Mark R. White. Welcome. And we got Steve Carpenter, SC Ariel's Cool Cat. And, yeah. I'm trying to remember. His name is Michael, I believe. And we got Paul Brown, Legend Big, who's lurking today. And then we got Rob of Rob Supreme 3 watching. Welcome, everybody. Now we got Bill of Chin Dynasty. All we need now is Grant Mr. Stay Drunk. He'll probably pop in a little later.
Yeah, if he wakes up in time.
Yes.
Yeah. But
so Steve mentioned it. DOJ has appointed a special counsel for the Hunter Biden investigation, and it turns out the person he appointed to head this council breaks the rules of the council, because in the rules you're supposed to appoint someone outside the Department of Justice, and he appointed somebody inside. So there's a big hubbub about that. So basically it's another cover-up, just to kind of gum up the works and slow the investigation down just enough so that Biden could squeak by in the election. And we got Ronnie, God bless America. Welcome.
Yeah, some of the people are on my channel, and that's who we're seeing. So if you can't see who we're talking about, they're either come to our channel, which is where the main show is at, or go over and watch it on my channel, whichever you want to do.
Or you could put the link in the chat, and they could come over to my channel.
Yes, I could do that, couldn't I?
Yes, you can do that. Mm-hmm.
What? Hang on.
I could put it. I could put the link in the private, and you could share it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think I've got it. I think that's it.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
All right. Yeah, my understanding from what I heard on Fox News on Friday or yesterday, I can't remember which now, that this is the same guy that offered the deal to Hunter in the first place. So,
Right.
and so why appoint same sham attorney's been covering for Hunter non-investigation over 3 years? Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's amazing. What surprises me is whenever it's the Democrats, they get some guy whose investigation turns out to be nothing, and they kind of drag it along, and they get it. But let a friggin' Republican do something, and they've got investigators coming out the wazoo, and they're finding all sorts of evidence. Yeah, and just like with the Trump situation,
Or making it up.
or making it up. Yeah,
Yeah. Like
it's
Russian collusion.
yeah. And I mean, nothing's going to happen to Hunter or to the president because by the time even if he should, I don't think he'll get reelected. I'm pretty sure he won't. I'm not even sure he'll get the nomination. But even if he does get the nomination, he's going to be in such bad shape mentally and as far as his capacity to understand things because of the because of the diminishing cognitive abilities that he has. That's a mouthful.
Yes.
That he's not going to know what's going on, and they won't because he can't help take. He won't be able to take care of his own defense, so they won't file any charges against him.
Right. You got RFK Jr., who's talking about primarying him. And
Yes. Yeah.
I think I just saw someone else is going to primary him. So
Yeah,
not
and
sure.
I've also thought I saw somewhere where I think it's RFK Jr. that is considering if running under a third party or third ticket.
Right. I
So
believe it's called No Labels.
no labels. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. That'll hurt the Democrats more than the
Yes.
Republicans.
I mean, it'll be like when Theodore
Ross Perot.
Roosevelt ran third party and gave Wilson
Yeah.
the presidency. Had Teddy not done that, I think Wilson would have lost.
I thought when Roosevelt ran, he ran against as a third party the Bull Moose Party.
Yep.
It was when Taft was running for re-election.
Right.
Did Taft lose his re-election?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so he was only one term.
That was the election of that would be 1912, and the re-election would have been 16. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And Wilson ran on non-intervention. Keeping us out of war.
Right.
Where who ran against him on the Republican side? Charles Evans Hughes.
Okay.
Supreme Court Justice.
Yes. Catskills Brad, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Hey, Brad, good to see you. And we got Justin. Good to see you, Justin.
And it also looks like because somebody said hi to Mudball. So
yes, Mudball Don. Hey, good to see you. Yeah.
Is AOC 35 yet? Yeah.
I think that's her IQ.
That could be true.
You know what? Not just high enough to know how to mixed drinks at a bar.
Yeah, you know, a good mixologist now. There's some good ones out there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she puts a bad name on bartenders. You know.
Right. We got Dewey, UAVP.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Yep.
What is that? Reagan's not in office. I have been living under a stone. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I just shake my head
Mm-hmm.
at the silliness of our politics. You know, it's just so ridiculous. And you know, I hate to say it. I mean, I've been a supporter of Donald Trump, but as I've said in the past, I don't think he's what we need right now. We need somebody, you know, that has got good conservative values across the board and is willing to work with Democrats that have a couple of brain cells, you know. And those are hard to find too. There's not very many of it. Yeah, there's a few out there. It's hard to find them, but yeah.
Well, it's that's going to be a delayed emotional damage.
Yeah,
which will come in about 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Justin. Lauren Boebert is hot. Yep.
Yes.
And she's a firecracker.
Yep. Yeah. She's the one from Colorado, right?
Right. Yeah. She's from the Glenwood Springs rifle
area. Yeah.
Yep.
I think they call it parachute now.
Yeah.
But it used to be called Rifle Gap when I would live there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why it's called parachute?
Because people parachuted in? No?
Nope.
Do tell.
Across Rifle Gap, some hippie artist back in the late 70s, mid to late 70s, strung across a cable across the gap and then hung an orange parachute in straight line. And, you know, it was an art thing. It was just a friggin' parachute
remember
across.
That.
Remember that?
Yes.
That's when they named it. It was after that, because the thing got ripped to shreds over the years, but they renamed it from Rifle Gap to parachute.
Oh, I agree, Steve. Yeah. I think if Trump gets elected, I think that's exactly what he'll do.
But we need more than one man alone cannot do it.
Right. We need more than 4 years.
Change in Congress as well.
Right.
Yeah, because part of the problem is that our government is autonomous now. It can run it doesn't matter who's elected, whether they're in the House, the Senate. It can run regardless, because on the day-to-day basis, there are people who were never elected that are running some of the highest levels of our government. And they're not replaced. They're not changed out. They're not fired. Some of these.
And how did that happen? Congress
appointed them. Yeah,
appointed those people, and built these bureaucracies.
Yeah.
So they don't have to do anything, because that's supposed to be the job of Congress.
Yeah, in the overall scheme of things, but it's not the job of Congress to hire the guy who changes the toilet paper in the bathroom.
Right.
That's not their job.
Maybe
that's
it should be.
It should be, yes. But the government has to, toilet paper has to continue to be changed no matter who's in charge. So they have, that's called civil servants, and those people get into a program and they start training on how to change toilet paper and do it the politically correct way, or whatever it is that they do to change toilet paper. Yeah. And then they move on up to eventually
be over the top, not
right,
underneath.
Exactly. And they have to use that single ply wax paper
Right.
that they buy in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So that you have
yeah.
to use 2 to 3 times as much.
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
clean.
which of course, and it's not biodegradable because of that wax coating that they put on it.
Right.
It just smears everywhere. You can tell I've used military toilet paper before. Yeah. In 1977 or 78, we had a paper shortage in the United States. And one of the problems was, everybody would grab a couple of rolls of toilet paper and head out the door at night to take home to use at their house. Everybody did it. We all did it too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one morning, like I said, I think it was 78, 77 or 78, it's under Carter administration. We were made to stand formation at roll call because I was on the midnight shift, which ended, it was supposed to end at 7, but we ended at 7:30, and that's when the day shift started, was at 7:30. So we could have that half an hour to pass off all of our commands and whatever. So we were called to formation, and they read a memorandum or an order from high above, that was filtered down, and each commander, everybody, we were allowed to have, we were regulated on how much toilet paper we could use.
Oh.
They literally were forced to read that we were allowed to have 2 wipes per sit.
Oh, okay.
2 sheets per wipe. And they had to read this at every roll call, in every squadron, in every wing across. They used more, and in those days, they printed everything out on paper. They used more paper for that one command, that one order. And you're like, let's see, 2 sits per shift, 2 wipes per sit, and 2 sheets per wipe. And that was that. And of course, we were all dying laughing. And our commander, he was like, trying to keep control. And of course, we're a bunch of military, we're GIs, so. But that's how ludicrous it was. And somebody somewhere in the civil service gist of things had to come up with the idea of how to regulate toilet paper in a clean military fashion. And it was a civil servant. It was somebody who was hired as the guy who changed the toilet paper rolls in the government bathrooms. And those
We
are
got
the kind of people
Michael,
we can't get rid of.
our drone guy. Welcome.
Hey,
come on over to my
Michael.
channel. We got a link in the channel. How they stop those thefts, and I know this because where I work, they, where you get the toilet paper from, the dispenser is locked.
Yeah. Well, we went to the supply room, and we took them out by the, and because of the restriction, and this is what helped, because of the restriction on the amount of toilet paper we could use, and if you've ever ate some of that military food, it'll just right through you. So we didn't want to get stuck in that position. So everybody that had toilet paper at home brought it all back. They ended up with somewhere around 400 cases of toilet paper, just in our one squadron, And
no shit.
Yeah, no shit, exactly. And you know how hard that is to say, 2 sits per shift.
Yep.
And that's what but that was, somebody was in charge of that. And that's the kind of people we can't, that's who's really running the government. Those guys, that started out as toilet paper changers, and now they're supervisors, or they're, they start out as GS1s, and now they're GS 14 or 15s, and they're now special counsel for the DOJ.
Right. And so now they're getting all the information, or they're getting this latest indictment is about election tampering. Am I going?
You mean I was going to say, are we talking about against Joe Biden,
Trump.
or against Trump?
Trump.
Oh, yeah.
in the latest indictment. Biden hasn't been indicted. However, there is a congressman who has started impeachment proceedings against Biden. And Cool Cat said MRE solved the mm-hmm.
Trying to enter something in chat. Yes, I have seen Yes Minister is what it's called, and it is funny. And it's about those civil servants. And that's the problem, but yeah, we got this, they're trying to indict Trump on they're just trying to keep him election fraud, and they're just trying to keep him, or election interference.
Yes.
But yet in the opening of that part, they talk about, he has the right to disagree. I mean, how about the hanging chads? Have they forgot about, have they forgot about the hanging chads? Have they forgot about how much interference? How about when Trump was elected and you had Robert De Niro and all of his buddies in Hollywood coming on and asking the Electoral College representatives to vote differently than what they were assigned to.
Right.
If that's not election interference, I don't know what the hell is.
And who could forget the hanging Epstein? Nobody talks about that. Oh, they got to talk about this Chad guy.
Yeah.
That
Chad didn't hang itself.
No,
that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Just like the Christmas lights.
Yeah. Well, they just did a study. They just did a review of all that. The DOJ that is currently in charge of everything, and they've determined that Epstein, hung himself. They had their like, really, you believe that? Like,
we got Chuck Kovacian. Welcome, Chuck. Hey, great video this afternoon. Loved it. God, his videos make me hungry when I watch.
Yeah, God bless America. He says he's got a good point there.
And we got Dre, Recovery Drone. Good to see you, Dre.
Oh, he's over on my channel.
Yeah.
I'll post that again just in case. In case you don't know it, we're actually on Art's channel, but there's the link if you want to come over and get involved with the chat on this side of it. We as the host and co-host can see what you're saying, but the people on the different channels can't see what the others are saying. So if you want to talk bad about somebody, go ahead and talk about them. Just make sure they're not in your chat, because they can't see what you're saying. Yep. Anyways.
Oh, he's over on my. So, Mike, are you on my Facebook? Yeah, because I'm also live streaming on Art's Place. That's the old channel name. And so we got 4 channels that we're on right now.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and I'm on YouTube as well. Awesome. On my Twitter account and YouTube. So
cool. Let's see what else. So we got the special counsel, and there's going to be some fireworks going on about that, and hopefully they could get Merrick Garland to say, oops, I made a mistake. We need to pick somebody outside the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
Catskill Brad says, what's the link, Art? It's called 3 Conservative Gimps. And Lloyd just posted the link. I don't know.
I don't know if he can
there
see
it.
I may have to go. He may not be able to see it, so let me go. And
there you go.
Let's see. Because I may need to open up that chat. So if I
there you go.
All right. Yeah, here we go.
Yes, that's right. The X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. So I no longer tweet. I X.
All right, hang on. There we go. Let me paste it in there this time. There we go. All right.
Mm-hmm.
In case you didn't see it, there's the link for you guys that want to come over to. Oh, Cool Cat just put it up there too.
Oh, okay.
Very,
Thank you.
very good. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Got it. All right.
All
Where
right.
the hell am I? I got too many tabs open up. There we go. But, well, did you see what else is in the news?
No, do tell.
The Washington Commanders. There's a petition for them to change their name.
Oh, are they going to change it back? Or does
There's a Native American group with over 80,000 signatures that have asked them to change it back to Washington Redskins because they can do it because they just got a new owner. And they're asking them to change it back, and they are tired of Native Americans being erased through cancel culture.
Yes, I did see that in my Facebook feed. We got Brad, he's at Nana's Attic, and I just saw Lee, Yellow Rose Drone, join us. Thank you.
Saw him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Joe
Yes,
Merrick
I
is
saw
on.
that, and hopefully that'll do something, and maybe they could get the Cleveland Guardians to go back to the Indians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're really pushing for, right now. The petition is for the Washington Commanders or whatever they call themselves.
Yeah, Washington Commanders.
Yep. Didn't they go for? I think they went for about a year. That
it was the Washington football team for a while.
Yeah, the Washington football team. That was real original.
Nana, you got that? Okay,
there you go.
I need to make Ronnie blue. And Nana. Oh, there is Nana.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some. There was. And what's her name? Karen Jean Pierre is being sued by a White House reporter for, believe it or not, for racism.
Is she Biden's press secretary?
Yes, and she's being sued for prejudice against a black reporter who is from Africa, and he had his hard pass removed. They did not renew it, so now every time he has to get a day pass to go in there, and they haven't answered any of his questions for 7 months anyway. So he is suing her.
Okay. Steve,
and the Secret Service.
Give Ronnie a wrench over on 3CG. Yep.
I think everybody's got one on my side here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me check. Yep.
But yeah, it's
Brad, you are blue. It just hasn't changed the color because if I
it's
put my
showing up
cursor
blue
over
on mine now. It's showing blue now on mine.
Oh, okay.
In my chat.
So we got some sad news out of Hawaii. The city of Lahaina, is that how you say that?
Yeah, I think so.
To the ground.
Yes, yes.
But
I was watching some videos showing it.
Fortunately, the 150-year-old banyan tree did survive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did see some video yesterday that showed people were actually jumping into the ocean, trying to get out of the way of the fire. It's just like, of course, one of the statements is that this is the most devastating loss of life that we've had in over 100 years. That is to say that 100 years ago it didn't, or 120 years ago it didn't happen before. They're just. But of course, naturally, they've got to say this is all that, especially the governor of Hawaii. has had to say this is all due to global warming.
Oh, global warming. Global
Yeah,
warming.
creating fire hurricanes.
Oh, so that's a new term now. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me
because
write that down.
yeah, and because the fire the winds blowing through there from the flames is 80 miles an hour, which is a Category 1 hurricane. So
Oh,
gust of, so it's yeah, cool cat. Your racism is becoming a synonym for not the same racial identity or any interaction, such as a shame that people are believing the attempts to divide it. You're right, and
and
last I checked,
it's also another way of shutting people up because they don't agree with their point of view. So you could go all the way back to the 70s and with someone of a conservative persuasion, they'll make a statement and it's automatically, that's racist.
yeah, and the
And
thing
what
is
screwed us up is we didn't start refuting that crap back then. We just kind of turn the cheek and take it because
in the
we're good
60s
Christians.
yeah, well, and that's it,
Mm-hmm.
in
It
the
is the
60s
kind
and
of thing
70s.
that sort of stuns you when you're talking about a subject which has nothing to do with race, and somebody fires that at you, and it's like it just creates a cognitive dissonance in the person being called a racist. You're just like, what the act? What? I mean, that it's really hard to recover after that.
Right.
There
Right.
there was a guy that a kid we were all kids then. It was in my senior year, and he was black, and we got into it. And it started out with a snowball fight, and I don't know, he'd hit me in the face, and I turned around and did an ice pack snowball and smacked him up the side of the head, and then one thing led to another. Then he started yelling at me, says, "You treat me like this because I'm black." I said, "No." I said, "I don't care what color you are. I still think you're a piece of shit." And that's what it come down to. And he just like, uh, uh, oh, I mean, I'd had nothing to do with what color he was. He was a piece of crap that hit me up the side of the head with an ice pack snowball. And when I returned the favor, then suddenly I was doing it because he was black. It had nothing to do with that. I said, "No, you're still a piece of shit, no matter what color you are." I said, "It's you. It's not your skin." And that's how I answered things back then, And but and like I keep telling people, there's only one race. That's the human race. In the conversation,
Well, don't
unless of
forget
course,
Vulcans and
yeah, well,
Dorians,
unless
Tellarites.
of course there's some of these UFO things that they're talking about, and I don't know what race those are, but you notice they don't. Whenever they're talking in science fiction or whatever, when they're talking about these aliens that they find, I'm talking about the ones up there, not the ones down south. When they're talking about those aliens, they're always called humanoid.
Yep.
They're not
Because
called,
they're bipeds, and
they're not called Asianoid. They're not called Hispanoids. They're not called Anglonoids. They're not called.
Plus, it's
hemorrhoids.
easier to write stories like that.
Afronoids.
Or how about reptilian?
After some of
or
the
insectoid
abduction accounts I've read, people are going to start calling them hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoids, yeah. Yeah. It's
and why are they how come they don't call them astronauts?
Yeah.
Or asteroids.
But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know anything of what anybody else has gone through. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be really tall like Kai or really short like Art. I know what it's like to be old like me, but only I know what that's like. You guys don't know what that's like until you're old like and you'll even when you get as old as I am, you still won't know what it's like to be old like me. You'll be old like yourself,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
And that's
Chuck
what
makes
people.
a good point about the buildings, why they burned up. Well, because those buildings, you know, if they weren't made out of cinder block, they were built out of wooden materials, and the insulation, those walls are only this thick.
Yeah,
Because they're, and that's why they burned up so quickly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep, that's right, Chuck. Most were wood. Yep.
yes, yeah, and that's I know when we had back in 2012, we had a really hot spring that year, and and we had high winds, and I think it was in March or April of 2012, and we had a power line drop right at the end of the alley that runs across the end of our property, and it dropped into our backyard, and it set it on fire, and I mean it burnt 3 yards, and it just took as a little of just a few minutes, and that flame came right up to our house, and they just
Mhm.
barely got here in time
Mhm.
to get to the fire. I mean, and that was we've had
Mhm.
wildfires like that before, and the thing is what the telling story of it is they said we haven't had fires that this deadly in 100 years. Well,
Mhm.
it it can't be just global warming because then we
Mhm.
wouldn't have had it 100 years ago.
That's right. And how long have we been recording weather event?
Uh,
A
I
little
just saw
over a
that the
hundred
other
years ago.
a little over 100 years. Yeah,
Yeah. So how do
but
we know that all of this is man-made? I
well,
mean,
and you go
they've
back.
gotten ice cores that shown us that it's been much warmer back in the
Yes,
past. Did you see that John Kerry was at a congressional hearing and he was being grilled and the guy said, "Hey, it was much warmer, thousands of years ago." Yeah, but man wasn't there. And he goes, "See?" And he goes, "You're not being serious." And it's like, that's just the arrogance
yeah,
of liberalism. You throw the facts back at them, and then they say, "Well, you're not serious."
yeah. Well, Chuck brought up that he's seen it because from 2001 2019 Western Maui dried up. Well, I've
Mhm.
I mean, we're looking at temperatures in Tucson, Arizona that are 110, 120. Well, I saw that back in the 70s. I also saw it snow in Tucson in the 70s.
Mhm. Yep.
You know, mind you, the snow only lasted about 6 hours, long enough for us to get out on the flight line and have some good snowball fights. But
Right.
still, it snowed it snowed in Tucson, Arizona.
Mhm.
There's 77, 78,
Oh,
79,
and
somewhere
have
around there.
you ever noticed that nobody talks about the fluctuations in the sun? That is
Yeah,
a huge factor in our weather
yeah,
because we have right now we're going through a period of high solar activity where we're
right.
having solar flares that are knocking out power in
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
parts of the globe. Uh, there was an incident back in the I think the mid 1800s where there was a coronal mass ejection. That's called a CME. Hit
Yeah.
the Earth and it wiped out our telegraph system. And that was our only mode of communication from East Coast to West Coast.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking like who put that? Oh, Mike put that they had temperatures of over 50 consecutive days of 100 plus temps in 1980. I remember, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we had it was 1985 or so. We had 100 our August was somewhat cool, but come September, we had 15 or 20 days of in September of over 100-degree weather in consecutive, and that's and we've done so much to stem the technology has advanced so much to stem the pollution that's being put out there, but we can't say it's just the United States. We can't do it all because you got China and India that are. Remember, we are coming out of a geological ice age. Yeah, that's true. I remember in '78 or '79 the observatory outside of Tucson, Arizona, talking about it was on the radio that there was a if the sun cooled X amount of degrees over the next 20 years, and that it had already started the process, that we'd be in an ice age, and that never happened,
Yep.
But, and yet we have better pollution control today than we did back in 1978, 79. And it hasn't made one difference one way or the other because you've still got,
Yeah,
it's hard to blame just one
can't
thing.
control the sun, although Democrats are talking about, maybe putting a big umbrella up in the air to shield us from the sun.
Gerard Butler and Geostorm. Go watch that movie. It explains it all right there. The Democrats just got that out of a movie idea. There are multiple variables. It's hard to blame just one thing, but the electrification is not the answer either. You're right. We do need to have a more renewable energy, but we need to have it. It has to be pan global. It can't be just us or just Canada or just.
It's about all of the above: hydro, wind, solar, nuclear.
Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah. Well, and here's exactly. God bless America. I just finished reading what you said, and I've said that for years. Every election year, every 4-year election cycle, all those hot-aired politicians get to blowing off at the mouth, and that's what creates global warming. It's always it's amazing though that every 4 years global warming is an issue.
That's right. Oh, and did you also notice every 4 years there's an extra day for campaigning?
Yes.
It's called a leap year.
Yes, that's right.
So I wonder if those founding fathers were thinking of this when, hey, let's do this every 4 years, but let's do it on an even year.
Well, that's not true because the original elections were like they somewhere along the line when they made one of the amendments, I don't know which one it was, they changed the election date because originally it was at a different time period, like in March, and it was not on the even year. There was a couple
that would be the inauguration. Because that was March 4th, and they moved it to January.
That's right. Yeah. That way, all the old presidents would get sick and die of pneumonia, and they could replace them with this idiot vice president. That's what they were hoping. Anyway, it didn't work out that way. But Anyway, I know every 4 years I can remember my wife's birthday. Because she's born on January 20th. And say, hey, dear, we're having a big day for you there. Look, the whole nation's celebrating your birthday.
Yep.
Every 4 years they celebrate her birthday.
My niece, her husband, and her son are supposed to go to Maui in October. So that doesn't look like that's going to be happening. And she got non-refundable tickets. But I think what will end up happening is they'll get vouchers. Yeah. So they can use it at a later time.
Yeah. Yeah. Weren't they? Did they also not have some problems. One of the islands had some volcanic activity here in the last couple of months, if I'm not mistaken.
That would be the Big Island.
Yeah, I was thinking the Big Island was
Mhm.
having some activity.
'Cause that's
so-
the only one that has any active volcano.
And there you go, because anytime I don't know if people notice, but anytime you have a lot of volcanic activity leading up to you end up with.
Look who's in the chat. It's Greg Coonert. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you, my old friend.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Oz by Drone. He's over on your channel.
He's over on my channel. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Greg. Glad to see you. What is this? Oh, this is Monday for him. Let's see.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm going to have to. Yeah, I hadn't even noticed it. Why is it not showing it up?
Yeah, he was over at my show last night.
Or was he? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, we've. Yes, Greg. Three Gimps. Yes.
3 conservative.
Three conservative Gimps. Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Ah, you're a bit under the weather, having a day off. Okay. Well, he's. We've talked a couple of times in the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and isn't Maui always kind of a dry island? Because if you look at it, you know, there are some, you know, because it's formerly had volcanic activity, and if you look at it from space, it's not all lush green like over in Kauai, where it's called the Emerald Island for a reason,
Right.
because it's green everywhere. Where Maui, you got those big peaks, and yes, west side of Hana or Hana.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, there's been a lot of other extenuating circumstances that's caused this,
Mhm.
and Lahaina is the dry side of the island. Well,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, and there's some areas that are just tinderboxes, because
Mm-hmm.
have they and from what I understand, they still don't know what caused it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, some Nimrod could have been out there, decided he, didn't like the town and decided to set a fire, and of course it was just the perfect storm to create
Mhm.
that. But,
Or somebody decide, hey, let's do some welding and spark down the way.
yeah.
Yeah. Or some idiot driving along, hey, a smoker threw his butt out there. That's what happens a lot in Colorado. That or people with what is it? When trains go by, they emit sparks.
Yes.
But they don't have trains on Hawaii. So.
I used to, as a smoker, I used to never flip my butt out the window, but back in, I don't know, it was 80, I think, is just as I was getting ready to get out of the service. I was living out at George Air Force Base, and that's in the high desert, and then you come down into the Redlands and San Bernardino area, and you come off that mountain. There's a lot of forest there. Well, as I was driving down, this is back when all the malls looked alike to me as far as I was concerned, but we went to one of the malls there at, I think, San Bernardino. Anyways, we were driving down and came down, and I was a passenger. I flipped my cigarette out. We went down there, and I don't know, we were in there an hour or two. We were doing a lot of shopping and, sightseeing, whatever. And coming back, we noticed when we came outside that there's a lot of smoke in the air, and we come back up that hill, and that mountainside was on fire.
Lloyd.
I don't know if it was me, because there was a lot of cars that day, and I wasn't the only one that was doing it. But from that point on, I never threw a cigarette butt out the window.
Good for you. We got Mike B, aka the Drone Ranger. Welcome.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Wow, we got a great crowd today. 23. I think that beats the record. Yep.
Oh, that was your George Air Force Base was your flight base for medical training, flight training. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Funniest thing, at George Air Force Base, they had a movie. They had a movie theater there, and one year they had, or one of the times, one of the theaters they brought it was the War of the Worlds, the original one.
Oh, okay.
And when they called in the airstrikes to attack the aliens, they were calling them in the movie. They were calling them in from George Air Force Base. And of course, as soon as they mentioned that, the whole theater just erupts into and it was kind of cool seeing that old movie in a theater, rather than on television, which most of us. But yeah, and I think that's the reason they got it was just it was one of the dollar matinee or 50-cent matinees or something like that, and the whole theater just cheered when and then booed the aliens when they shot down all of the fighters from George Air Force Base. But that was made in like the 1950s, was it? When that came out?
That'd be
53. Yeah.
we were talking about the fires in Maui. In the Philippines, it's raining like crazy there. Yeah, so, and they've had like a string of typhoons not actually hit the island, but just go by, because when the typhoons go north towards Taiwan, what it does, it starts pulling up that warm, moist air from the South China Sea. And that's why they get a lot of rain. And wind, too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the weather pattern is weird. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw them naming hurricanes in the Pacific. Like they are right now.
Yeah. There's Dora right now that's heading towards the Philippines. And it's basically done a beeline just north of the equator.
Yeah.
And going along. And now it's starting to turn up, and it may go up to Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been some weird weather patterns, and
they've had some hurricanes in the Atlantic that are like right off the coast of Bermuda and just going around and around in circles.
It's stuck in the Bermuda Triangle.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's called El Nino.
Yeah, and of course, this El Nino is considered a super El Nino because
I am Super El Nino.
Sounds like a Mexican wrestler.
Yep. Yeah. For Nacho Libre.
Yeah, Nacho Libre. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But
that kind of wrestling is fun because they wear masks and costumes and stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
Where our wrestlers,
they used to back in the 60s, 50s and 60s and 70s. There's a lot of wrestlers that wore masks, but then they kind of got away from that. There's still a few that, of course, there's one of them. There's one now that is a Mexican wrestler, and his son is wrestling. Of course, they've got the storyline that they're against each other, and of course, Dad wears a mask, the son doesn't. Whatever. I hate to break it to Kelly Green, but they're all fake.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
it's scripted.
Yes, because I was watching the Ken Heron show, the last one where their guest was a former wrestler. And he asked him, would you get back in the ring? And he goes, only if there was a script that he could do.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I don't think anybody nowadays, that's why it's called WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, because it's like watching stuntmen, It's like a more entertaining version of the Fall Guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, Steve. It's even cooler here in Colorado. Here in Denver, we haven't had 100-degree day this year. We've been
Well,
in
ours
the
is
mid to upper 90s. We've been
yeah.
close to 100 a few times. But
Well, ours has shifted. It's kind of come out of that. Like I said, it's usually last 2 weeks of July, first 2 weeks of August, and it didn't really start hitting until the last week of July, which is throwing it off. And because
mhm.
next week we're talking 103-degree temperatures again
well,
here in Oklahoma.
well,
And
we're
like I said,
getting cooler weather here. I mean, it's starting to look like fall out there.
yeah,
We
well,
started getting fall leaves here.
Mm-hmm.
we started the first part of the week. It felt like fall,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden it's back to summer again.
Mm.
Right now, it's 93, but we got 62% humidity,
Look at
which
that.
makes it
115-degree heat index in
yeah,
Florida.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's
And
that's the high humidity is what brings that heat index up,
mhm.
which makes you
and the
wonder.
water around Florida is 100 degrees. It's almost like sauna.
Yeah, and that's what they're
Not
concerned
sauna,
about,
jacuzzi one.
jacuzzi water, and they're concerned with that 100-degree temperatures if that's going to create energy for the jet stream to start picking up, and they may get a late season. They may get some late season hurricanes now.
Right.
Is because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you guys want to see about it, just go to Ryan Hall Y'all, and
Ryan Hall, y'all.
yeah, he does a really good breakdown of the weather, and he's usually pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But,
we managed to do just a little over an hour. I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming and jumping over to my channel and building this up. Please share this channel with your.
Hey, Uncle
We
Bill.
got Uncle Bill. He's here. Well, Bill, we're just closing shop. I will try to make it tonight. I think I'm gonna go into work a little later than I have been. Well, yeah, still work a little bit of overtime in this week. So everybody, have a great week, and please pray for those people in
In
Maui.
Hawaii, yes, yeah, because I saw the death count was up to like 90,
93 now.
93, yeah,
Yep.
and yeah, it's
Have a great weekend. Go over and watch Lloyd's show tomorrow night, where you'll see me yucking it up over there. And also my drone channel on set. I have a fishing channel Friday nights, which is an hour later than the other two shows. So check that out. It's Art's Place Fishing channel. So go over there, and I do giveaways on that channel. I do the mystery fishing pots. Take care, everybody.
Good night,
Catch you
folks.
next time. Bye bye.
see y'all later.